Hey guys, what's up? It's JMT and welcome back to another Survive the Night video. In this video, we're going to be doing another tier list for you guys. It's going to be a gear tier list, but specifically only for the merch's items, the merch surplus items. I was going to go ahead and actually make a video that just did a gear tier list in general, where it was of everyone, like all of the gear in the merch's surplus shop and all of the gear in the normal shop and stuff like that you can get out of crates. But if we did that, a lot of the merch's surplus gear is obviously going to be higher ranked than the normal gear. So we're actually going to make two separate videos on that, so expect a gear tier list coming in the future. We're also going to be going ahead and ranking these items with their specific perks. There's no reason in making a video about the merch's surplus items about just the gear in general if you're going to go ahead and not use the specific perks that go along with them. So everything here is going to be tier listed with their perks. Starting off with the F tier, we are going to be putting in the compass and the relic telemetry. Guys, we made a whole video on this thing. I actually uploaded it not that long ago. Everything you need to know about relics, we went ahead and used this merch's gear here. And oh my gosh, is it just not something you should be spending your tokens on? There are so many other items that you can get in the merch's surplus shop with your tokens than this thing. So what this perk actually does for the compass is it allows you to get better rewards from picking up relics, and it allows you to get rewards from other people picking up relics. And what they mean by rewards is pretty much just points. If you guys have the Relic Hunter perk, which is a perk you can get in the item shop, you get the same amount of points as if you had that perk on compared to this merch surplus perk that you gotta use tokens to get. You get 16 points for both. So pretty much the only thing that this perk is really granting you, if someone else picks up a relic, you're getting an additional 5 points. That's it. That's all this has to grant. It's just pointless in my opinion. I'd say only get it if you're literally going to be farming points, okay? If you're going to rely on other people to pick up relics as well. That's the only reason I'd say get this. Other than that, it's only good in getting points, which is why we're putting this into the F tier. The other item we're going to be adding into the F tier is the tracker and the range module. It's actually like a cool idea, but it's going to be confusing for some people to actually go ahead and understand what's going on. So this tracker doesn't actually go on your back like the normal gear tracker that, you know, dings if the slasher is near and stuff like that. This tracker actually goes in your hand and you're supposed to read the screen. It lets you know how far away the slasher is, but in terms of studs. And some people probably don't even know what a stud is. It's like a certain amount of blocks that the slasher is away from you. How are people supposed to actually calculate the stud distance? Is it a stud path? Or is it actually like a stud distance from going through walls, like the actual distance from you to the slasher? It's so confusing to use, and there's actually normal gear as well that helps you find out where the slasher is compared to actually using this Murch Gear and Murch perk. And it should show a percentage sign as well and compared to the stud distance, but still, like we said before, it's just not worth it. It's supposed to be one of those recon gears, but I don't think it does the job. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and throw the tracker into the F tier. Moving on into the B tier, these are the items that I think that should not belong in the F tier because they are kind of valued a little bit higher up there. We're going to be starting with the merch's CCTV and the closed circuit audio. So pretty much what this does is if you place a CCTV on the wall and walk away, I mean you could stand near it too, but if you want to use this gear right with its perk, just walk away because this is supposed to be tricking the slasher. That's what this perk is pretty much known for. So once your CCTV is placed up on the wall and you enter your CCTV, you can actually taunt and then your taunt will play through the CCTV, tricking the slasher to thinking that someone's there. I have used this perk in gear before and I've only done it like once or twice where the slasher actually came to that location. Other than that, the slasher just didn't care. I'd say that this merch CCTV is more of like a fun gear to use. You can pick it up at any distance on the map. You could place it on one side of the map, go to the other side of the map, and then pick it up from that distance. It's like the alien and using his burrow ability and how he can teleport from wherever. That's pretty much what this perk allows you to do with the merch's CCTV. You can pick up the CCTV from any location, doesn't matter where you are. But it's not like an actual gear that I actually go ahead and use to try to benefit myself, which is what they try to do with this, I guess, which is why I'm going to be putting the Merch's CCTV into this B tier. Next in the B tier is the Merch's Shield and the Overshields. So pretty much what this Merch's Shield does and the perk for it is that if you activate your shield, it gives you 2 chances to go ahead and have your shield, not be broken. The slasher gets 2 hits to slash at your shield. So if your shield's up and the slasher hits it, he'll become stunned for a little bit, immobile, and you can run away and your shield will still be active. You guys know how with the scrap shield and the riot shield and all those other shields, if the slasher hits it, then it goes down because it's like it's broken, it's got to recharge. Well, with this perk and the Merch's Shield, it doesn't die out right away. The slasher can hit it, be immobile, you could run away and it'll still be active. The slasher could come back and hit it again, then it'll be inactive. So pretty much it gives you a second chance with your shield. Has it saved me before? No. Okay, every time I've used this thing, I always end up dying. But what I've been trying to do with this Murch shield is actually to have the slasher hit it, then I shut the door, open a locker and hide in there, have him hit it again. Like, I've been trying to do so many things with this Murch shield, but I always end up dying. It's like an interesting idea to have your shield have 2 lives, but you still end up dying. So that's why I'm putting the Murch's shield into the B tier. Moving on into the A tier, this is the top 50% and all of the Murch gear. Starting off, we got the Murch's revolver and the micro rounds. This is probably the most popular Murch gear, okay? I see a lot of people use this thing, and that's why it's in the A tier most importantly, but it's just a good gear to use. So pretty much what the revolver does is it acts like the camera. It's a stun weapon. If you shoot, it stuns the slasher and blinds them. But with the micro rounds perk, you get 3 separate shots to go ahead and use this thing. Now, of course, those 3 shots being a little bit weaker than having just 1 full shot, but it's still beneficial in your survival, okay? 3 separate shots to get away from this guy. And you can go ahead and activate them at any time you'd like. But, of course, after those 3 shots are up, you have to go ahead and reload your gun, which does take a bit, okay? People who normally use their 3 shots in the micro rounds don't normally get to see the light of day to actually go ahead and reload their gun and use it again. But this thing is just annoying to go against when you're playing as a slasher, especially when multiple people have this thing. It's a pretty good gear to use, okay? Especially if you're rocking by yourself, you know? You don't have to be in a group for this thing to work really well. Now, most of the people that I see play as a slasher, because this revolver and the micro rounds has been out for so much, it doesn't actually make you immobile anymore like it used to. If you shoot this thing at the slasher, 8 times out of 10, this person's going to be able to hear your breathing and still walk towards you. But most of the time with this gear now that goes ahead and actually blinds you, you can go ahead and still like follow their breathing pattern, and right after you're out of that blind state, you're still chasing them, which is why we're putting the revolver into this A tier. Next, in the A tier, we have the sonar gear. A lot of people will probably put this in the S tier, okay? I was going to put it in the S tier, but you'll see why. The sonar is pretty much like the slasher using his detection, except the roles have been reversed, okay? The tables have been turned. It's been turned tables. The sonar doesn't have a perk, by the way. This is just its own gear. But pretty much what the sonar allows you to do is you can detect the slasher. You can detect where he is. Do you know how you're playing as the slasher and you detect and it shows everyone like a red dot on the map there? You can go ahead and see where everyone is. Well, as a survivor, if you go ahead and use this sonar gear for slasher detection, it lets you know where the slasher is as a green circle. So it's pretty cool, and it moves along with it as well, so it does track them moving, and it lasts for like 5 to 10 seconds. It's pretty nice. This sonar gear is perfect for people who have been using that new supplies perk or who have been using adrenaline. I know a lot of people who actually play solo and use this sonar gear. They'll go ahead and find out where they are, and then adrenaline helps them keep up with actually staying away a certain distance from the slasher so that it can actually be detected, you know, audible wise. And that's why we're putting the sonar at the top of this A tier list. Heading off into the S tier, guys. Now, a lot of you are going to be questioning, you know, why is the sonar in the A tier? But with the S tier, I put in the night vision and the infrasound sensor. A lot of people don't like the night vision gear. But guys, do you know what this perk does for the gear? The audible advantage that you get when using this gear and perk. I love using this night vision now. Not only do you get to see better in the dark, which is going to be perfect for the lights out mode, by the way, but it lets you hear where the slasher is. Now, how exactly do you hear the slasher? Okay, so when you have that night vision goggles on and you have the perk that goes along with it, the infrasound sensor, and you use the ability while in game, a big noise will happen, like a big breathing, and that pretty much points you to where the slasher is, and it's pretty audible, okay? It's not just a big noise, and if you turn around, it'll still be a big noise. No, like, you can hear the breathing coming from the slasher's location. So while you use this, just do a little 360 while you're in the game, and you can tell the difference of where the sound's actually coming from. People who have headphones on when they play Survive the Night, this is the perfect gear and perk for you. It's pretty much like the sonar combined with the night vision. It doesn't actually let you see. It's not visionary to where the slasher actually is, like the sonar gear. Audible is just the same thing with this, okay? It's pretty much the sonar and the night vision combined, which is why I threw it into the S tier. Next, in the S tier, we have the welder and the smart plating. This thing that just came out into the Murch surplus shop. This thing is such a good gear to use. Not only is it the Murch's item for the hammer, which a lot of people like to use, But the smart plating perk that goes along with this, oh my gosh, it auto builds barricades. And it builds it way faster than if you were to actually go ahead and build a barricade yourself with the hammer. This thing, if it gets bought by a lot of people in one match, is going to be very, very useful. Going to be very, very OP indeed. You can go ahead to a location where you want to build a barricade, place it down, and walk away, and this thing will just auto build for you, okay? It will just build it by itself. That's why this thing is so useful. I was thinking about putting this into the A tier, but people really like barricades, and it is a hard thing to go against, especially when you're not playing as like a lady slasher. You gotta sit there and smack it for 3 hits. More than likely, people are going to use this not to just sit there and camp, okay? I don't think this is going to be used for people who are just going to build a barricade and then sit next to it the entire game. What I think people are going to do with this thing, you get a little bit of time to go ahead and run out into the map before the slasher actually comes out and finds you. You could go out, run, get a head start to go ahead and cover that path that the slasher is probably going to take. I think that's what this gear is going to be most known for. It's what's going to be most used for. People just going ahead and blocking off paths that the slasher is going to be using to get to you guys. But that's what I think this gear is going to be used for, and that's why we're placing it into the S tier. This thing could easily be moved down into the A tier, and we could easily move something up from the A tier into the S tier, but for now, this is going to be an S tier item. And finally, at the top of the S tier, we have the Murch's Bear Trap and the Trap Restock perk. Guys, this thing is actually banned from our tournament on Saturday. This thing is so good to use, okay? You can place so many bear traps in one match with this thing in the Trap Restock perk. Once you place down a bear trap and you use this Trap Restock perk, it significantly decreases the time so much compared to actually just recharging your bear trap if you were to not have this type of perk on. If I ever go against a trap restock user, just to let you know, if they're the last person you need to find, get ready to be stepping to like 4 or 5 bear traps, okay? They're going to be placing these things in paths that they have to escape and stuff like that. More than likely, trap restock users like to play in the, in the start of the match. They like to play in that little location so they can go ahead and actually get that one trap off to go ahead and start the trap restock time. Because the only slasher in the game that actually counters traps is the Nightfall, okay? If you use the Nightfall ability, you are immune to getting staggered by traps and stuff like that. These tiny things that just give you that little advantage by advantage to go ahead and get away from the slasher. That's what this bear trap is. That's the definition of this thing. This is why we're putting the bear trap into the top of this tier list. That's pretty much it for this Murch's Gear plus the perk tier list. And the other gear tier list I made, I'm going to go ahead and say in this one as well. Guys, this is all opinion based. This is just what I've been seeing in game and what I have used as well, okay? There could definitely be changes made to this. If you guys have any suggestions as well, or if you guys have your own Murch Gear plus perk tier list, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys did like this Murch Gear plus perk tier list, leave a like down below. And this is it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.